Matt, I was talking to your colleague, Brian Vecchi, and he said that data classification is essentially the keystone. Once you have that, a world opens to you. Walk me through it. Why is data classification so darn critical?
Well, for one, it helps you quantify where your risk is. When you think about cost of a data breach, you're thinking about the number of records of some regulated type of data that got exposed, and being able to put a number on that, as there are costs associated with providing things like credit monitoring, identity monitoring. If you're trying to figure out and say, well, where is your risk? Where should you apply controls? A good place to start is classifying your data and figuring out where that breach risk is.
What is being classified, and then what is that sort of understanding you get at the moment of classification? And you can use any example.
Now, let's start with what are some common classifications, right? A lot of organizations will have something like restricted information, confidential information, internal information, and let's say public or external information, things meant for public consumption. And what fits into those categories could be something like personally identifiable information, social security numbers, or things like intellectual property. I think of all of the American manufacturers.
But so many people have just data that's being generated at such ludicrous volumes at a crazy pace. It's like the train has already run away. What are they to do in that situation? Because I got to think that's the majority of our audience.
Yeah, I think you got to start somewhere, right? Maybe start with things like your regulated data, your employee data. This is a small enough chunk in order to start the program. Let's get it off the ground. Let's look at things like, well, how many of our employee socials are sitting out there in our human resources shared?
What is that eye-opening moment? Because you don't need something big to have a great realization.
Well, now their DLP program, they just have a burst of energy into it. I find a lot of organizations can find the simple stuff. Like I could find a social in an email, but where they really lack is the ability to do something effective about it. And so just kind of getting those first steps is a way to get your hands around it, even start to just implement the simple thing like monitoring.
People realize the power they finally have once they can do this.
I'm sure one thing that'll resonate with a lot of our audience is that struggle between what I would consider to be data loss prevention, which I should be stopping data from leaving, versus data loss awareness, right? Like I got this notification that someone took some data. And a lot of the core reasons why that happens is because they don't have reliable classification to, get consensus that blocking something or stopping something from happening is worth the risk of potentially interrupting something from a business perspective.
Well, we're going to be talking about this very issue this Friday, June 9th, 2023 on Super Cyber Friday. Our topic of conversation will be hacking data loss. We're not looking for more of it. We're looking on how to control it, or essentially, as Matt just mentioned, be aware of it. Here's all the information you need to know.